All right, I'd like to call to order the Capital Improvement Committee meeting of Tuesday, March 12th, 2024 at 2:24 PM. As always, the first thing on is a review our capital request. Now, we had talked last time about how things were changing as far as like the oil tank. I did confirm with the town administrator that oil tank, we want to take that line item and identify it as for school security versus the oil tank. I did make a statement to the school department, Courtney and Paul, when they were here, that if they come to a resolution as to what it's going to cost for these oil tanks, because it's an important thing, then at least I will help them try to fight to get the thing back on the agenda, because we do need to get it done, but we can't just park the money there, right? We already have 140, and based off their email they just sent, they feel that they'll be under budgeted in that, so that'll have to, if they figure it out, maybe on the fall or next spring, hopefully on the fall, the sooner the better, so we don't have the same incident that we had here. The municipal HV, I'm just going to do 2025 real quick, just so we can just review it. We've talked to it about a bunch of times, but just we got to get to a point where we confirm that what we're doing in 2025, and then we're going to talk about 2029. So I'll hold off on that so we don't get it confused. The municipal center HVAC units, they're definitely in need to be repaired, and they've been on for a few years, so it's like a matter of time before they totally break down and they don't have a unit, and then we have an emergency situation. That's on for 85. That'll most likely, because that's an older number, that'll most likely go up 20-25%, I would guess. I'll confirm that, so on our next meeting we can confirm these numbers and put them together if we're keeping that on there. The first floor, municipal center first floor electrical, that's on hold for right now. We're not going to do that in 25. We're going to hold that item. As we talked, the loader with the plow, we're taking that label off of that. Highway Department loader with the plow. Previously said John Deere. We're going to just loader with plow. That was on for 230. It went to 315. So the 185,000 that we took off for the first floor electrical, we just ate up 85,000 of it to make the loader project whole. The municipal center architectural engineering for first floor, second floor renovation, we're going to also hold on that. It'd be premature to get involved in that until we get our water lines out on the street. Hopefully they have that straightened out pretty soon, because they have to have it dedicated by the end of this fiscal year, and it has to be paid out by the December 31st of 2026, correct, Gene? The opera funds?
It has to be committed.
Committed by December 31st of this year,
Yeah.
and then paid out by December 31st, 2026. So hopefully they get that done. I've seen, I don't know if everybody else has noticed them, their survey crews have been up and down Depot Street, so I believe that they're actively trying to come up with their plan, identify what they're doing. The town clerk's engineering design storage room vault, I would suggest that we take that off of, and the term design out of there, and replace it with phase, and it could be phase 1 because nothing else has been done, so it'll give Adam, he's currently in that role, some funds in which to start looking into some sort of climate control in there. and/or fixing the floors coming up as tile floor. There's some work that needs to be done, so at least it gives them a budget to work with, they can get started on it, right? Even if they have to get a design, they'll have, and Gene will correct me if I'm wrong, because it's not identified specifically for that. Can we have a broad term as phase one on that, even if it includes design? If they have to do a design, whether, because they got to block off windows, get a heating calculations and stuff like that in there.
Do you even want to put a phase, or do you just want to put the project in?
We can, so we don't have to put a phase, we can just leave the project. So the only concern I had about that is when you go back to the taxpayers next year, they'll be like, didn't we just do this last year? So that's my only hesitancy, as to just put the storage vault. Well, it's only 10 grand to do that, that's no brainer, so we just do it. And then next year, we're asking for more money.
Yeah, then put a, yeah.
And we may want to even increase that. Adam did get a cost of, and this is up to everybody, it's just thought process, we'll solidify this by the next meeting. He got a cost of about $17,000 to put the heating, cooling, and dehumidifier in that, two units with the outside heat pump.
So why aren't you doing the whole project now?
What the whole, because we don't have room on a little spreadsheet. We have everything that we identified already for this fiscal year coming up. Some of the things are kind of moving around, like the oil tank. Some of the things are being put on hold. But you can't, we can't, it's the same problem that the school has, that we have, right? So now we're actually acting as a proponent right now, and we're not. It's a different role. Somebody needs to bring us a cost as to what it's going to be to do the entire renovation, so then we can put it together properly. That money was already on there. Ryan Hogan's already moved his equipment out of the big portion of the room. The locks have been changed, and now they've started putting some of their, the big tables and the voting booths and stuff like that in there. It eliminates.
The purpose of this step is to make the area safe for storing.
It's just a start, so because you weren't on it at that point, Chris had put on, based off of numbers that she had gotten from somewhere, I'm just moving so Gene can see me, based off numbers that she's gotten, we had a budget number of like 360,000, right? That was to build a whole separate structure wherever this thing went. By utilizing that space, it's going to save us a lot of money, but there's work to be done to it. Whether it's blocking up the windows or putting in the climate control, maybe we just leave it alone as the 10,000, and so Adam has something to work on, because he's got to come up with an idea. He's got to figure out how to close that in. I don't think that if it's going to be document storage that we necessarily want windows in there.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is if the purpose at this point, this phase one, however we want to word it, is to essentially make the area safe and suitable for document storage, why don't we just call that the project? And if that includes breaking up windows, HVAC units, but that gets us past the point of saying we're not going out.
Well, it's a town clerk storage room / vault, right? Take off engineering and design. Engineering shouldn't be in there, right? And this is just my thought, and anybody can say whatever they want about it. If we put phase one, I'm telling you as an audience that there's more phases. Right, if we have a movie, it's sequel one, then there must be another one, right? So it's the same thing. It's just a mindset. I don't want to mislead the people at town meeting, because they do certain times. Somebody will grab what you said and they just carry that forward, but they only took a piece of it, right? So that's just what I'm cautioning everybody about, just to think of it that way. That's all. So whatever we ultimately do is fine with me. I don't care how the wording is, just so it gives, you try to put yourself in the position of the person sitting in the audience that knows nothing about it. If I told you, just walk down your office and say, hey, we're going to put 10 grand in phase one of the, for some storage, I wouldn't even have to explain to you. You'd be like, you might say, how many phases are there? But that'd be about all it is. You're not going to, oh, okay, and then when I come back, all right, we're on phase two. What do you mean? That's what I want to avoid.
Right.
It's just consistency and trust. I want the public to trust that our process, and we're being honest with them and not misleading them, not intentionally, but not misleading them at all, that's all.
The question arises, well, what is phase one? We have an answer.
No, we don't. We have nothing. I mean, I would prefer it to be all done. I'm one of those people that, she's been asking for this for years, and why can't we just get a quote, or not even get a quote, just decide to do it? And do you need quotes?
Okay, so from a procedural standpoint from the town, okay, if the job is over $50,000, it needs to go through building and facilities. Building and facilities would identify the needs of that to see if it's something that we need, and then they would go through the designer process, and then they would make recommendations to the board. There's a process to it, right? So if we're following the true process and trying to do the job from start to finish, that's how we need to go through it. So then we don't even discuss it now. It's just side.
So you're positive it's going to be over $50,000?
It's 17,000 just for the heat.
Okay, and
Right.
$10,000 for what?
That's what I had just started at the beginning. So originally, this was put on $10,000 for the engineering design. I don't know where that number came from. Somebody came up with it. I didn't come up with it. Judging by everything else, all the other bills that Gene gets the luxury of paying, I'd be hard pressed to believe it was $10,000 for a design of anything. But with that, all that being said, Adam did get so if you do this just to get it started, right, the first thing you need to do is acclimate the building, the space. It has to have heating and cooling, because if you put those voting machines that we did 3 or 4 years ago, we did them because our voting machines were outdated. We put those in there, the moisture's gonna play havoc with it, and they're not gonna work. They're gonna spend more money fixing it. So they have to be in something climate control. So we could consider upping this to $17,000 or $20,000 to make sure that Adam can get the climate control in there. The building, the walls themselves aren't going to change other than paint. So they could mount the head there, even if they took it off, it's not a big deal. Right? It's just to take it off and remove and replace it. If something else grander went on with the design, I don't see that happening. I think they could acclimate that space without going too crazy with the interior walls. Concrete walls is perfect because they don't burn, right? So we have document storage, we want to make sure it's safe. It makes logical sense. It's separate, totally separate from the rest of the building. So if we had a catastrophic event, we don't really have to worry too much about our storage stuff. So
So we could just do climate control.
you could do climate control.
So let's do climate control first, and then if that's $17,000 or $20,000,
Yep.
then,
Yep, we can do that. So I've gone round and round with Gene too many times on stuff, so I'm very cautious how I label things, because it pigeonholes you into something. It's like, if you specifically say climate control and they decide it makes more sense, if they get a consultant that says it makes more sense to close up these windows first because you can use it as dry storage for your tables and stuff like that, and then on the next go-around, we can have an actual plan to make this a little more substantial, they won't be able to do it if you put climate control on
By area
it. If we put town clerk storage room vault phase 1, that's kind of a broad brush to it, but it gives a little bit of leeway to whoever's in charge of this project to get it done. Now, knowing that our HVAC system for that, the heat pump, is going to cost us $17,000 per Adam's quote that he verbally gave us. and there was a recent quote, he reached out and he got that quote. We could use that as a basis, or you could say at 10,000. I don't know what they'll get for 10,000. It doesn't matter, because if it, at the end of the day, if he doesn't have enough to do it, what you did is you wasted a little time. The money's not gonna be wasted, it's just gonna be added to actually start the project. But I would prefer, and this is just me, and everybody else is entitled to their opinion, and that's the best way to do it, to give the ability to actually get the project moving forward. The sooner you start it,
Yeah.
the faster it gets done, right? And every time we delay things, we have this infamous loader here that went from 230 to 285, and it's now
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
350.
yeah.
No, I know that.
Get going here. I just spit it out, Mike. You don't have to, we've heard all of this.
Okay. Run the meeting.
No,
No, but you asked for an explanation, right? And so I'm giving you the
No.
mindset. So what's your suggestion, what we do? I probably start with that.
okay. My suggestion is get Adam to, is he still the building facilities or not?
As of today.
Yeah, okay. So ask him to move forward with a plan of what to do to get it done. And if we can use somebody that doesn't have to get paid the prevailing wage, if it's a single construction place, you know.
Has no employees, and he doesn't have to provide prevailing wage. No, I get that.
Okay,
So I don't know if we can do that. If you're talking about the design portion, but I don't know if we can do that under what our bylaw states under the Building and Facilities Construction Committee. If the overall project's over $50,000, it needs to go through them, and then there's a process to it. So, which I'm fine either way. All I'm trying to do is just give you the information so you can make an informed decision, that's all. I'm not, at the end of the day, my stuff's stored at home, so.
What, this might be a Gene question.
No, it might be.
What if somebody comes up and says, well, phase one is 20,000? What's the total project? Total project's 50, how come you're not going through building?
That could very well happen. That could very well happen.
I mean, my opinion would be,
Would it,
give out 20 to get at least the HVAC and any ancillary expenses to get the project moving. But
I have a suggestion and a question for Gene. Would it make logical sense to have this particular item done in the fall, or does that make it too messy for you for your process? And the reason why I ask that is maybe in the meantime, it would give Adam or Christine, whoever it is that's with this project, to actually get something more substantial so we can make, everybody has a logical approach to it, and I fully understand it.
I personally don't mind waiting. The only thing you would have to wait for free cash to be recertified. So, but it is typically done by the fall town meeting. So free cash reverts to zero as of June 30.
Correct.
So you're voting it now in May for July 1st. We would, in it, you know, knock on wood someplace, as long as free cash is recertified by the fall town meeting, that's fine.
And for the record, I do agree with you, it's kind of haphazardly prepared. I'm just trying to get through the process, so how does everybody feel? Do we want to request more information from, because we're going to meet in the summer anyways, to go over the raising the threshold, that question, right? And your information came in, I asked Lisa to save it because it wasn't on our agenda, so I didn't put it on. We can review it the next meeting if you'd like to. We can just to get it out there so people can start thinking. But does it make sense for everybody that we request some more detailed information as to what the plan is for that space versus just throwing $10,000 at it with no direction?
so you're saying to Adam and Chris, give us what you actually,
Give us something to work with.
yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay. I think it makes the most sense. So it's a little frustrating for all of us to go through this, but it's a process. We just have to do it. And it's more, a lot of it is like repeating it. It's not, I understand you know it. We don't know who's paying attention to our meetings, right? So and some of it is for information for people that may be watching. And this close to town meeting, it may be important that they hear it. So if you missed the Cartoon Network last week, you might be able to catch it this week. So, all right, so we'll, on that particular thing, potentially fall. We still have the transfer of stabilization to the stabilization account. Post office HVAC may be on hold. We'll get clarity from Adam on that. So the special stabilization account brings me to the other topic that I wanted to talk about. So we have a 2017 truck that we, fire apparatus that we bought. We just purchased the 2022, that's a 5-year separation. I would like to at least get it on the radar because we have that 2001 tanker truck that, if you recall in the past, there was some question of whether or not it was leaking underneath. In any event, it's getting to the point where it's got a few birthdays, and that's the whole purpose of our special stabilization account. So I would like to at least consider putting it on the 2029 because we're creating that one, right? That budget. And I think what if we choose to do that, I think what we should do is put down the value, and we'll use the value of the last truck that was bought, even though it's an engine and not a tanker. That was $750,000, and the way everything is escalating in cost, it would be a safe number to use, right? We have that plugged in to our projected capital plan for 2029, and we know that we're gonna end up with, right now, what do we have, 200 in there, Gene? I think it was only 2 years that we have in there so far. So 200, this will be 300 for 25, 26. So you'll have 500,000 in there by 2029, maybe. Oh, no, 25, no, 29, no, 700 in there by 29.
Yeah.
Yeah, 700 in there by 29.
200 or 100.
What's that?
Is it 200 or 100?
I think we did it 2 years already. We did it the first year, when we voted in. Did we create it and put anything in, or no?
No, I think we created it.
Okay, so, in any event, we're gonna have $600,000 or $700,000 in there. That's a safe bet, right? So we'll have that in there, and with that and the Chapter 90 funds and still the stabilization account, because we have to consider saving up for that ladder truck, which is an '05, but fortunately, it's in really good shape. It's well maintained. As long as it keeps going, that'll buy us some time. Those are pretty pricey. That'll be a major setback for us when we get to that point. But if we insert that and not consider the special stabilization account, as we get a little closer going down our list, we'll know that we have the extra monies that is in that stabilization account that's going to offset that, and it'll give us more room to add things into that particular year. That was the whole goal of doing a special stabilization. But we don't have any good data at this point. Our whole process needs to be cleaned up, I guess is the best way to put it, right? So if we start getting those spreadsheets every January, then it should make our process a lot simpler, right? You'll have your score sheet from the year before, so you'll see where you graded that thing, and if you want to change it for whatever reason, it's got to be changed, then we change it. But we shouldn't be struggling as much as we are now, getting, people come in with requests, but they have no cost to it. Well, we can't put it on our budget, on our projected plan, if we have no number. And statements made that they can't get a number because people don't want to, they have to figure it out. It's not up to us to get prices. We can't do that. We don't have time for it, and we don't have access to their information. So that'll be their own particular challenge. So moving forward, hopefully this will get a lot cleaner. So we just went through 25. I'll ask Lisa to clean this up for us, so then we can spread it out, and I'll have her email it to everybody so they have it. 20, talking to the, well, before we do that, let's talk about, we're still on 25. One other item that we didn't talk about was the outside charges. So there was 2 quotes that I sent around, one's to the right of Chris and one's right in front of him. There's 2 different quotes, one's for $33,000 and one's for $36,000. This is to replace the charging heads out there that haven't worked. And the one for $36,000 is a better-known company that has good reviews on it, for a lack of a better description. But they're probably both comparable.
So is this on the list?
It's not on our list as of yet. Remember we talked about it?
Yeah,
And
no,
I just gave everybody a brief thing, but I had no information.
Yeah,
Because
and then
Matt was tied up,
Matt
so.
came in. Yeah.
Matt got those quotes, and I just asked him for them, so he printed it out. So I'm going to ask him
This is
to,
the 33 one.
Oh,
To the 30.
excuse us, Mike, we got kind of mixed.
no, that's all right. Who's on first?
What's on second?
I don't know. Third base.
So we're adding it to 2025 or
The
2026?
town administrator would like to get it into 2025 if we can, so.
And this is called the charging station.
Yep, that's for the outside charges that we have out there. They were non-working since like November or December or something like
There's
that.
only one working intermittent.
Now there's only one working. Somehow or another, you got a replacement head that works, but it's older technology that's not dependable. So, and when I went to the MMA, this isn't just unique to Douglas. Everybody's having the exact same problem, because that Green Communities grant thing went through and everybody bought into it. We got $50,000, so it cost us $6,000 out of pocket. It was a total of $56,000 for the project. So it was a good deal for us, I guess, because for $6,000, we have the replacement heads coming in at 33. What have they been in, 2 or 3 years? A couple anyways. And with everything else that increasing, I'm sure it's well over the 50,000 from the beginning. So I guess we're ahead of the game if we look at it that way. It's kind of an odd way to look at it, but we got all our wiring and everything is in place. That's all proper. It's already been inspected, so it's just the heads themselves that are a problem. So that's what the request is from the town administrator. So
And that will be included in the list that Lisa's going to,
yeah, I'll have her, well, if we agree to insert that in 2025, we just need to decide if we want to insert the 36,000 now. That's an actual cost, like everything else that I've suggested to the different department heads, like if Adam came in and I think his brush head was 38,000, so I suggested that we put in 40, I think is what the number was. I don't remember it off the top of my head. But you put in an extra couple thousand, because the worst thing that can happen is okay, do it, and now we're $500 short. Now we can't do it because where's the money come from? I'm sure they would figure out something if it was $500, but that's the mindset behind it. Yes, Gene?
Because that is an existing project, would the committee consider putting that on the special along with the couple other FY '24 projects that we didn't have enough funding for, so that we can get it done right after the Maytown meeting instead of waiting until July and then taking care of it after that.
Yep.
It's not a brand-new project, you know,
Yeah.
if it was brand new, I would say, you know, definitely leave it under capital thing, but it really is a repair or upgrade to an existing capital.
Yeah. Before we decide on that, I just wanted to point out that this is a problem because we're under contractual obligations to the town administrator. This is part of his compensation to have that. So if we don't have that, then he gets monetarily compensated. So it's in our best interest to have that, because it might be a little bit, but we're still ahead of the game as to how he uses it. Plus, residents come up here all the time to use it, and then they can't use them.
Do we charge for it?
Once we get these things fixed, they will be. They were never dependable enough to charge for it, which I'm sure gives somebody a headache, because you got to go through the bookkeeping portion of it as to where this goes. But the goal is to get these things corrected finally, and then the rate will be set. And it'll be, I'm sure it'll be competitive, so then people will want to use it, and then you'll see more people using it. I'm more concerned about the contractual part. I recognize that when it was.
Yeah, and I
broken.
don't know, this is the first I'm hearing of it.
What's that?
This contractual,
Yeah, so how it worked is in his contract, it's online, everybody can look at it. In his contract, previous to this renewal, he was compensated $300 a month for a vehicle allowance. In this new contract, he can use up to $300 in electric for it. He's not using that much, it's not plugged in now, it's sitting over in the parking lot. Right, so in the summertime, it's not as much of a problem. In the wintertime, which we all learned real quick listening to Matt, is when you put on your heater, it uses up your battery, so now you don't have as much range, so it becomes a problem for him. So he's invested into getting the up-to-date charger at home, so then he charges it at home, so it's minimal use that he comes here. That's why I said it's to our advantage to actually have it corrected, not only for his sake, but for the people that want to use it, and we can get it on board and start getting some revenue out of it.
so what do we need to do? Or are we not at that point?
What do we need to do? We need to decide which one we want to recommend, the 33,000 or the 36,000. Then I would suggest that whichever one you do, you bump it up by a couple thousand. And then following the finance director's suggestion, put it on to, because it's an existing project, not a new one, it's a repair. To get it up quicker, we would put it on the special. So then, right after that, then we could act on these estimates, and we'd be more apt to hit the target.
Okay, I'll move it.
Which one?
I don't care.
I would suggest that we go with the well-known of the two, because where they're so close at $3,000, I don't think trying to save $3,000 makes sense.
Well, yeah, but I don't care which one it is.
Right, so.
And we were saying that we didn't want to put the John Deere label on it or the
Right,
whatever.
yep, no, it's so the motion I would be looking for is to recommend that we put the charging units on there for amount of $38,000 on the special.
Okay, I'll
We
move
don't
that.
have to identify either one. If we have 38,000, he can do the 33 or the 36, I guess, right? Motion's made and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing as none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No? Okay. So,
On the special, right?
Yeah. So,
Take off at about 10.
comes in late, leaves early. $38K. All right, so now the other thing that Matt wants us to consider looking into, and not for '25, potentially in '26, and we don't have to decide on that now, I'm just putting it on everybody's radar, is a document digitizer, so we start getting rid of all the stuff, which you can probably be passionate about that subject. The archiving, get rid of all this paper we have everywhere.
Yeah,
I
that's
know
good.
you like that one.
Yeah. Okay, so that's, you want.
Well,
once all-
he's requesting it in 26. If we go on, so we've been using the 1275 as our number because we don't know what our number is all the time, so we kind of kept carrying that forward. So in 26, he's going to have to come to us with a number. I'll get that, get it emailed to everybody. But we're at 1,030,000 right now, so I don't know what this digitizer thing is. If it's a piece of equipment or a company like Iron Mountain or something, I have no idea what his thought process is. He's going to have to bring something to us. But if we can kind of earmark that in 26, it may make sense. Because with the water line going in, starting the document storage down there in the locker room, we're going to start thinking about how we expand in this building. Everybody's cramped down here. If in fact we end up with a facilities guide town-wide that's been talked about, there's going to be a needed space. I don't know if anybody's paid attention, but Mr. Menerick thinks that the community meeting room is his office because he has no other place to go. There's too many buckets and mops in the broom closet, so he can't use that. So we have to come up with space somehow or another. All right, so on, thing carries us through to 28. So is everybody in agreement that we keep maintaining Chapter 9360 match? Okay. Put that on 29. Does everybody agree that we keep putting $100,000 into the special stabilization account?
Absolutely. Yep.
And then if we insert the tanker truck, I guess, is what it actually is, tanker truck. We insert that and we put a value of $750K on that for 2029. At least it's on there. And we're starting the conversation about where it fits into the system. Ideally, we were trying to get to the 5-year point, but that's going to take a little bit of time before you actually get into that rhythm. People get used to it. And once we go through this first exercise of utilizing the special stabilization account to offset that fire truck, I think people are going to appreciate what we did as a committee to take pressure off, because other things will still get fixed, right? We're not identifying anything right now, but through our process, and we probably should think about it during the summer if we can get some good information from the departments as to what's on our list, to potentially start filling that 29 up with some other things, so we just have some thought process as to what we may want to put on there. Any questions about any of that stuff?
Do you need any more motions for anything?
No. Nope, nope. So what, and the plan of action is I'm going to take this information that we just kind of scribbled through, and if I mess up, and don't shoot me, just say you screwed up, you got the wrong thing on there, you said this, okay. We'll just correct it and move forward. And that brings us down to our reviewing the minutes. Do we want to do that without Shirley, or we want to wait? If we wait, we have to absolutely positively have these done at the next meeting. We can't keep pushing them off. That's a subject on my later meeting today of what the requirements are for open meeting law.
Mike,
as
it's
far
only
as
the
minutes.
one set of minutes, isn't it, that Ally rewrote? I think all the other minutes are finished, aren't they?
There was a January one, yeah.
We got the, so March 21st draft.
March 21 is all we need to do, I think.
In January, so,
We
right,
cranked through.
so on the next one, we'll do February 6th because, and maybe that was because, let me see what she has on here. Yeah, so she doesn't have the minutes on here. If you want, I can go get February 6th and do it now, or we can do it in the next meeting. We'll do it the next meeting.
How about those
February
March
6th.
21 ones?
The March 21 one, we can, yep, let's go through those right now while Chris is
Can
still
we
here.
just- I've got 4 or 5 pieces of paper that are all March 21, Ellie's
Right.
version, the original version.
But, yeah, well,
we
you
do those
should.
a minute?
Yeah, you should have it, let's do those right now.
Can you stay,
So-
Chris, for a second or not?
Yeah,
Then I think that's all we need to do for minutes, isn't it? If we do March 21.
No, for old ones before me.
But, because one meeting ago, or 2 meetings ago, we did like 6 different versions of minutes, didn't we?
yeah, we did a bunch of them. Yeah. So before I give my opinion on it, because I don't want to be dictating nothing, I would like to hear from everybody else as
So Ally,
where they came to with these March 21st meeting minutes.
Ally, was your vision that your version would become the official
Well,
minutes?
that's what,
No, I just,
Or just an idea of another way to write them?
right, exactly.
Okay.
So it doesn't bother me either way. I'm not going to, I'm just, next time Shirley says, read the minutes before we vote on them and stuff, I'm not going to read them because I get very into.
yeah, so,
So if she hadn't said that, then we probably wouldn't be hung up on them.
yep, so this is a discussion that's going to happen tonight at the selectmen's meeting, right? And because there has to be some clarity in it, so it's not just this committee, this is, actually, we're pretty easy. Some of them, you'll have 3 or 4 pages, both sides. And the idea of meeting minutes is just to give you an overview, so then you can look at it, and if you have something of concern, you can go to the actual
And watch it.
recording it and watch it.
So I don't
where-
think it should be,
A transcript.
right, exactly.
Right. And that's what the clarity is going to be tonight, because it's not fair to the minute taker. Not only has she got all the boards to do, but she's trying to catch all these words we're saying. It's just way too much.
Right.
But and there's some inconsistency, so I think she's getting mixed messages. So what the town administrator's goal is, I believe, we haven't had this direct conversation, is to just clarify it. This is actually what we're supposed to be doing, so everybody's on the same page, you know what to expect. She knows what to expect, we can just zip right through it, so.
All right.
So way back in the day, when I first started taking minutes, one of my board chairs said, if the agenda is a page long, the minute should be a page and a half. And it's basically who's present, what's the motion,
Yeah,
and what was the vote on the motion. And if there's an hour of discussion, all you need to say in the minutes is, it was discussed.
Just right, exactly.
And that's what minutes ought to be, is not
well,
longer than the agenda.
and the minute taker does that for the most part.
Yeah.
I think, and out of fairness to the minute taker, I get the impression that maybe there's some conversation that we want more in there, stuff like that. And that's not what it's for, it's just an overview. I requested a whole bunch of meeting minutes from another board for a particular reason, and that's exactly what it was, it's just an overview, all right. So Mr. Vandenberg answered the question that Chris Pupka had. Okay, so I know that Chris asked the question and you answered it, so now I can watch the thing and say, yeah, that's what I was looking for. Right? A little more detail than that, but just, it's real basic stuff. And I fully understand, we talked the last time about BBT versus Blackstone Valley Tech. I fully understand it, and I paid attention the last time you were asking. So what's that mean? And you were writing it down, but that's what you need to do. So if it's something that you want to see in the minutes like that, and I say BBT, so that's Blackstone Valley Tech? Yes, it is. Then the minute taker can pick up on that and put it down, right? Because it does get confusing. Gene uses these terms and it rolls off her tongue, but then I'm like, what's that mean, right? So, and I just picked on her because she's sitting there, but it happens with everybody, right?
But even-
Chris may say something that's in his office, not thinking that I have no idea what he's talking about. He just gave me 3 letters. So what do those mean? Extra cheese? I don't
But
know.
if you're doing a real minimalist approach to minutes, let's say there's a motion that the library roof be reshingled. And everybody here has an opinion on it, the color, the kind of
Correct.
shingles. As far as I'm concerned, all the minute taker has to say is, there was vigorous discussion. You don't
Yeah.
even need to say,
Yep.
Dick said this, Chris said this.
No, no.
Ally said that, et cetera.
Yeah.
So that's another
Yeah,
view of it.
no, there was a discussion on replacing the roof on the library, and there was further discussion on color.
And the motion was to do it blue, all in favor
Right.
was,
Yeah.
and then you're done. So
Yeah.
3 lines in the
Right,
minutes.
right. And for the minute taker, we are no way giving you direction how to do it.
Well, it is a philosophy difference.
No, I understand that, but
Aside for the.
what I'm doing is because there's going to be another and more in-depth conversation later on today, and I don't want to confuse the mix. Well, they said this at this meeting. No, it's going to be addressed properly tonight. So it should be pretty clear to everybody. So I just don't want to, in fairness to the minute taker, not
We got
confuse
to
the
give Stephanie a
situation.
shout out for all the work she's.
She's doing an awesome job.
So.
Yeah. And I'd like to see that noted in the minutes.
But see, that's something too, the chair can do, as you just did, Mike, sometimes if the chair can say, by the way, we really like that in the minutes.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. A member can too.
Yeah.
If anything comes up and Ben says, I really like to see the minutes reflect that, then the minute taker picks up on it, and it should be in our minutes. It's up to him to remember he wanted it in there, not saying, what's this for? I don't know, Ben, you're the one that wanted it.
So Mike, I'll move we accept the minutes of March 21 as officially submitted by Stephanie with the note to Ellie's revision.
With a note to
To-
Ellie's
yeah,
revision.
what do you mean by
What's
that?
that mean?
Just that the minutes will note that we looked at Ellie's revision and received it as information,
Okay.
because she did give it to us.
Okay,
But my motion is that we accept Stephanie's minutes as the official minutes of the,
okay.
no offense, Ellie.
No, that's
No,
fine.
no, just for clarity, and motion, and you brought up all valid points. It was a good process, I think. A little frustrating for all of us, or me and you anyways, but it was a good process. Motion's been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
And motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing as none, all in favor?
Aye.
So we have an,
Rule of necessity.
Huh?
I wasn't at the meeting, so rule of
yeah,
necessity.
yeah, rule of necessity is going to be invoked for, let's see. Oh, you were here at the next one, so you're good.
You want to do the January ones a minute too, Mike?
Yes, I'd like to get that done as well, yeah.
We have those with us, I think. Yeah, January 23, it's a draft,
Yep,
right?
yep, yep.
So I'll move we accept the minutes of January 23, 2024 as submitted.
Second.
1 minute. Do you have them, Ally?
No, but I'm,
Here you go.
okay.
Interesting enough, we talked about phase 1 of the locker room. Out of order. There's a squirrel in the wall. He probably dropped a Pop-Tart in the end to pick it up near the vent. Okay, the motion's been made. Do we have a second? Yeah, we have a second. Any further discussion? Seeing as none, all in favor?
Aye.
Next Tuesday at 2 o'clock, work for everybody?
I'll be gone.
I'll put it on my calendar somewhere here.
What about you, Mr.
I'll
Social
be here.
Butterfly? Oh, you're going to be back in town?
Yeah, I'll be back.
Good for you.
I think so.
Yep.
So it's on next Tuesday at,
2 o'clock. Yep,
Which is the 19th.
19th. So just a reminder, the 26th, I turned into a pumpkin. I'm going to the Finance Committee.
At
So
6:30, right,
we're-
Mike?
At 6:30, right? Hopefully that's a zippy little process. I'll try to get this stuff to you guys ahead of time, then you can distribute it to your board so they have a chance to digest it a little bit. We should be I think we're in pretty good shape. We pretty much went through it now. We're going to review it and see what it is. So next meeting, we're going to review the list that we have. We're going to potentially approve the minutes of February 6th. I'm going to have, we're going to go over the threshold limits. Ellie did do that for us. She did a little research and got some information that we can use to explore that. We did say that we were going to talk about it in the summertime. If we end up going through it now, then that just frees up our summer. After this process is all done, we're going to have one more meeting just to do the minutes of the last meeting. And I want to do that so we're not doing this a year later, trying to approve minutes. So with all that, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks.